Southeastern Oklahoma on there.
We're up and running. We should be live on Facebook. We should be live on YouTube. Thank you for coming back to the program here as we get started. Glad to have you. We're just kind of flying by the seat of our pants as we oftentimes do, but we do have some pretty concerning weather to get to as expected today. Already seen a number of tornado warnings, some possible touchdowns across portions of Louisiana and Mississippi so far. A lot of this activity will begin to impact portions of Alabama and eventually later on this evening and even into the panhandle of Florida. So we're going to be tracking this, live tracking this in real time, and I will be bringing up a good friend of mine, also meteorologist Rich Lupia is with us. Let's do a sound check with Rich. Rich, good to have you on the program. How you doing? I think you said you caught an error. We'll worry about this in good time. How are you, Rich?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I'm doing good. Am I coming through okay?
I can see you. I can hear you. Let's make sure our friends can also do the same as we are broadcasting through our Weather Live media page on Facebook. Rich, if you're familiar with that page, you see him oftentimes, especially during the morning hours, as he does a lot of work producing content for us, covering the Southeast, but also much of the rest of the eastern United States as weather permits. So good to have you on, Rich. And we've got Jim Perry in the house. He says audio and video are all good, and that's Southeast, but also that's music to my ears. The rest of the eastern United States as weather permits.
That's awesome to hear.
Very good. So, Rich, you've got the latest information in front of you, I'm sure. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and do a quick radar update. Do you have, and let's see, where is my level 2? We are on that now. We've got 2 active tornado warnings. If you don't mind covering that warning information while I continue to get out the word that we're on here.
Okay, so as of about 8 minutes ago at 2:43 p.m., a confirmed tornado over Damascus, or 13 miles south of Preston, Mississippi. The tornado is moving northeast at 45 miles per hour. It is a radar-confirmed tornado. It's going to be in DeKalb literally in just a few moments. So if you want to locate DeKalb, Mississippi, that is about where that tornado is right now. It is radar confirmed. Now that's above and beyond the severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado near Pineville, or 15 miles southwest of Newton, moving east at 40. That is only a radar indicated. That will be around Garlandville in about 5 minutes and Rose Hill in about 10 to 15 minutes. It looks like it's moving down the I-20 corridor from Newton to one of my favorite places, so much I took a picture of it when I went by last May, Chunky, Mississippi.
Chunky, Mississippi.
Chunky, Mississippi.
You know,
it's exit 121. Don't ask me why. I saw it. I'm just like, Chunky. I'm like,
I gotta say, yeah, I'm unfamiliar with Chunky. I lived in Jackson, Mississippi for about a year, but never ran across a Chunky, Mississippi.
it's about 45 minutes to an hour east of Jackson. That's heading in the direction of Meridian, Mississippi.
All right, we are putting everything in motion for you. This is the enhanced infrared satellite imagery showing you that just absolute explosion of convection, which has been ongoing since late yesterday across Texas. Of course, several confirmed tornadoes across eastern Texas, far southeastern Oklahoma, and now today the activity being reinvigorated with the heating of the day. So while it is 3:54 Eastern, it's 2:54 Central Time where these storms are occurring. So you're reaching peak heating. There is some clearing out ahead of this. You'll see some of the fair skies far southeastern Mississippi and into far southwestern portions of Alabama. And I'm wondering if that's not going to become the next target area as the storms that are ongoing begin to seek out that instability. I think that's where the action may be as we go forward in time. The Storm Prediction Center did just bring us out an update. I want to show that to you. So I'm going to bring you over to my live workstation before we bring up more radar imagery for you, showing you that area. Big area still of a moderate risk, but you can see how they have shifted it a little bit further to the east. So that does include far eastern portions of Alabama now. And I want to apologize, by the way. I'm so glad you're here because my throat is already feeling a little strained. I don't know if it was from the broadcast last night. I continue to suffer from allergies. Maybe the basketball earlier today was a bad idea, Rich. I'm not sure.
Hey, you never know. you never know. My kids have had me running around the house all day long. Daddy this, daddy that. It just is what it is. We just do the best we can and just move forward.
Yes, we do. So we do have tornado watches. I'm showing you those individual tornado watches that are in yellow. It does include much of the state of Mississippi, much of the boot heel of Louisiana, including New Orleans, and into far western portions of Alabama. We do have the active warnings as mentioned. We'll go back over to radar, give you an update on that. And I'm also trying to get the word out on Twitter and Getter. You're on Getter, right, Rich? You like
Yes.
Getter.
Yeah.
Tell us
Getter's
what you
good.
like about
Like
Getter.
it. We like it. You get banned on Twitter just like Babylon B. Go to Getter.
Go to Getter.
At least you can talk there.
Yeah.
Whereas Twitter, you can't say anything. Never mind.
There's a lot of truth to that. So,
Yeah.
interesting formation on this storm. We're taking a look out of the Jackson. It looks like Jackson, Mississippi, out of this storm that was for, is it DeKalb County? Let me get the counties on it here. I don't think, yeah, it is. It's near DeKalb, not DeKalb County, but near the town of DeKalb. That tornado warning is for.
Yeah, it's literally there right now.
Kemper County. Yeah, but that's an interesting, and that did get extended downwind, as you mentioned. It does go into, is it Noxubee County? Noxubee County in central Mississippi. But it's an interesting signature because it almost looks like you have an eye on that storm.
Yep, 7 miles southeast of Preston, moving northeast at 50. It's back to radar indicated. It's going to be around Macon and Paulette in about 20 minutes, Deerbrook in about 30 minutes, Bigby in about 40 minutes, and it's right around Golson right now. So between DeKalb and Golson in Noxubee County in east central Mississippi right now.
Okay, absolutely. Let me get this out over to our friends on Twitter and Getter. Most importantly, Getter, but I still have a lot of followers on Twitter that are interested in the weather information. You have a presence on which social medias, Rich? How can they find you?
Okay, TikTok at Rich Lupia and on Instagram at R Lupia. With the TikTok and Instagram, I do a daily weather wrap-up around the country with an emphasis on the eastern United States. If it's focused on the southeast and the Carolinas where I'm at, or in upstate New York where I'm originally from and where I still have a lot of people that know me and follow me there, I'll tend to hit those areas a little bit harder. But I'm starting to very slowly get a following from some people from some different parts of the country. There's been a lot of growth on TikTok, and I'm starting to tap into that at least just a little bit. It's a small following right now, hoping to make it bigger.
All right, and that's it, man. Just one step at a time. It's, you just got to keep on going, keep on trucking when it comes to social media business. And so anyway, we're very happy you guys are on here. If you don't mind a quick like and share with the program, as always, it is appreciated. Always get frustrated with Twitter because, I really need 200 characters. I don't need 140. I need 200. And then you got to keep crafting and narrowing it down. It just kind of makes it a little bit annoying. Let's see who we have up on our YouTube. Thanks for being on. And, if you guys have any questions while you're on the program, just drop a line. I will actively monitor the chat on here. So let us know if you have anything on your mind. I've got Pat Cottingham. I've got Shun LVSWX. Okay, good afternoon to you. Robin Kuhlman in the house. And she's talking about cows. She's thinking of the movie Twister. Victor Gannon, I hear you both in clear. Wonderful. All right, well, we are off and running. I've almost got my tweet out.
Wow.
I've almost got it. But, yeah, I'm still crafting that. Okay, the tweet's gone. Oh, thank goodness. Thank goodness for that. So, and I'm working on getting some more imagery up here. So let's go on and talk about the setup. Can you see this, the images that I'm pulling up in real time, Rich, or no? You're looking at another radar source, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I'm looking at my sources on here. You're on the infrared satellite, at least on the delayed broadcast that I'm seeing on the Facebook side.
I'm showing
okay.
I'm showing capes. This is current capes as of 4 p.m.
Yes,
And,
I see. Yes, I see that now.
Okay, but these were projected by the model a few hours earlier. It under projected how far to the east these storms would get, but we were looking at 2,000 to 2,500 units of cape for southern portions of Mississippi, far eastern portions of the boot heel of Louisiana. I still think that that's in play. It's just going to be shifted a little bit further to the east into far southern portions of Mississippi, into the panhandles of both Mississippi and maybe Alabama.
Yeah, I mean, I totally think right now, even though this is more on the enhanced side and even to the slight risk side, if you're in the Mobile, Alabama area, and even Pensacola, particularly Escambia County, extreme western Florida, from Pensacola to Perdido Bay, and then back towards Baldwin County and Mobile County, Alabama, those counties along the coast, along the Gulf Coast, and particularly the set of counties inland, these areas, you've got clearing, you've got sunshine, that high cape is coming off the Gulf of Mexico into you. There's a lot of shear. I expect that area to be rocking within the next couple of hours, and I think your best severe weather threat is going to be from Tuscaloosa to the south. So from I-20 and 59, from Meridian and Tuscaloosa, and then eventually towards Birmingham by sunset. And I don't think there's going to be as much in Birmingham as there's going to be south of there, and particularly south of Montgomery, down towards those coastal counties, extreme southern Mississippi, extreme southern Alabama. I think just given that's where the daytime heating and where some clearing is happening right now, I think that is the area to watch next for storms to touch off and to pop off and for discrete supercells over the next few hours. What's happened from I-20 and points north is these thunderstorms have just turned into one gigantic mesoscale convective system, or quasi-linear convective system, QLCS or MCS.
That's such an easy word. It rolls right off the tongue. Quasi-linear convective system. Everybody should have that right on the tip of their tongue.
Yep. Have that in your weather vocabulary and have that ready to go when you need it.
So what that is, that's just
my 20 and points north. That it's basically morphed into that, and it's just one solid line, and there may be some spin out ahead of it. There may be a few tornadoes out ahead of it, but it's really the line that is more the threat, whereas south of I-20, south of Tuscaloosa, towards Mobile, towards Hattiesburg, towards Biloxi and Gulfport, it's in these areas that with a little bit of sun, just an hour or two of sun, it might be just enough to get the atmosphere to go whoop.
Yeah, we don't need a lot of heating in this situation. It's the dynamics are just, they're sky high. So really, even limited heating could cause really bad things to happen real fast. You mentioned quasi-linear convective system. Basically, that's just a fancy word for a squall line that has a ton of wind energy associated with it, but it's not like one solid line. You have bowing segments, you have twisting and turning, you have a lot of shear associated with these types of squall lines. It makes them particularly dangerous because you can very quickly have a spin up tornado, and not always weak ones. They're not, oftentimes you hear of a spin up tornado along a line of thunderstorms, and you're like, it's weak, it's a touchdown and lift. Sometimes these can produce really strong tornadoes, sometimes even F3 varieties.
Yeah, and the thing with a QLCS or an MCS or one, when you're looking at a big, long squall line,
Mm-hmm.
is a lot of times these tornadoes tend to be rain wrapped. And that's the
Right.
big danger. It's not the classic tornado on the southwest side with all of the hail and all of the thunder and lightning and everything to the
Mm-hmm.
northeast of that, to where the tornado is in the rain free section. When you get these QLCSs, when you get these squall lines, a lot of times these tornadoes tend to be rain wrapped. And like you said, it can briefly get up to an EF1, EF2, maybe even an EF3.
Mm-hmm.
It may not be there for long, but when you get up to an EF2, EF3, get those winds 110 to 160 miles an hour, you don't need but a few seconds of wind at that strength to really rip apart most of the house and leave not a whole lot standing, except those places that are your tornado safe spots, your interior, in a bathroom, away from windows, away from exterior walls, which is where you need to be if you're come under a tornado warning. And again, there's not a whole lot out there right now, but if you're under a tornado warning, you need to be in that safe spot, and in that safe spot until the all clear is given.
That's right. And I'm taking a look at the big picture right now, Rich, where we've got our WSV3 radar showing, the totality of the storm. It really is a very large upper low. We had blizzard warnings yesterday in the panhandles of Texas and Oklahoma and southwest Kansas. Now that snow has lifted all the way up into the arrowhead of Minnesota. So we've got precipitation from the arrowhead of Minnesota all the way down through the Gulf Coast. And of course, what we're obviously most concerned with is what's happening down here in portions of the deep south. So with that, let's zoom on in. I will say this, that we only have the one tornado warning. That storm is not looking incredibly healthy, but we are fully anticipating some of the storms out ahead of this. You can see these storms that are more, let me see if I can't tell straight a little bit here. They're a little more discrete in nature. These storms will have that opportunity to rotate. They're going to tap into any available instability. It is now almost, New Orleans almost reached 80 degrees. It looks like a shower is trying to cool them a little bit. But there's a lot of juice in the atmosphere down here. And all this moving off to the east and northeast rather rapidly. We'll continue to monitor. You can see the much
that one tornado warning just to the north and west of Columbus, Mississippi, home of Mississippi State. That tornado warning, there is some spin that is part of that line, that is part of that squall line. There's not really a whole lot there. The one in DeKalb up to Macon, that was originally ahead of the squall line, but the squall line is now just catching up to that. And it's the storms that are from Meridian south, the ones that are more towards Heidelberg, Laurel, Hattiesburg. It's those storms that are out ahead of it, along and just east of Interstate 59, that have the best chance for becoming tornadic over the next few hours. The interesting thing is that
we do have a new tornado warning, by the way.
Okay.
This is coming out. Is it coming out of Memphis? That's even further north. This is West Point, the actual tornado warning. This is coming out of Jackson, Mississippi.
Okay.
And so the warning that was in effect for, man, this is an impossible county to pronounce. Oktibbeha.
I have no clue.
Akatibbe,
I have no clue.
Whatever.
God bless the local meteorologists that are covering this, that they know how to pronounce it all.
And
but yeah, just north and west of Columbus, Mississippi.
So the other counties that are downwind of this are going to be Monroe County, southeastern Monroe County, and northeastern Mississippi. So that's the area that looks like they're most concerned with. This is a radar-indicated tornado, though. Radar-indicated. Looks like it's on a Boeing segment. So we do actually have two active tornado warned areas. The storm that Reed Timmer was chasing earlier from near, was it the town of DeKalb, That one appears to be weakening.
He was way down by Newton an hour ago. He was way down by Newton, and he followed it all the way up there. So
my guess is he's going to have to turn south and try to catch what's happening further south, because we think that's where it's going to go next.
He's gonna have to get into Alabama pretty quick, otherwise that squall line's gonna catch him.
Right. Okay, so looks like my level 2. It's taking a minute to catch up. So you can see all the counties.
It happens when you're streaming to multiple platforms. I mean, I have that difficulty sometimes when I'm doing, my weather live, because I'm doing Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook at the same time. And even though it's in the morning when there's not much bandwidth, the streaming 3 places at once, the system is just like, I'm thinking, and you're like, go.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. So
yeah.
All right, it's catching up. We're back to our WSV3 radar showing what's happening. We do have that moderate risk area, so I want to talk to that just a little bit, and get you guys into some details of what the Weather Service is expecting. I am in the process, by the way, of getting the updated discussion from the Storm Prediction Center up and loaded on your crawls. So if it looks like I'm multitasking, that's because I'm multitasking. With that being said,
yeah, right.
With that being said, moderate risk from Natchez, Mississippi to Jackson, and that goes all the way up to Columbus, Mississippi, down through Meridian, far south western portions of Alabama, and that goes all the way down to near the I-20 corridor. In fact, south of the I-20 corridor there is that Baton Rouge. Make that I-10. It's I-10, so this is all well south of I-20. So it's a large area, and you can see just a whole bunch of these feeder storms, and I can see several of these doing some business here as we get a little bit later into the afternoon. It's now just after 3 o'clock Central Time. We wanted to be on here for peak heating, as I suspected. That's when the atmosphere would be most prime.
Yes, indeed. So looking ahead, we now have our first severe thunderstorm warnings into Alabama, and this is the county just west of Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and that tornado warning that was just northwest of Columbus in the near West Point has been extended up. It's going between Aberdeen and Caledonia, Caledonia, Mississippi, and it is severe going up towards in Alabama, Hamilton, Alabama, Sullivan, and
We've got a problem here. Okay, so this storm, I've got a better look at it now. The one that started near Newton, this thing is ramping up in a hurry. We have a really awful signature at this point. Right now showing, I mean, it's hot. It's piping hot. I've got gate-to-gate shear of 106 mile per hour one way, about 55 mile per hour the other way. For a moment there, it was showing 160 mile per hour gate-to-gate shear. Now it's a little more broad, but I highly suspect with the TVS is in place. Let's see if we've got a TDS.
This is the one that's approaching Macon, Mississippi, correct?
I believe that's the one. Let's do.
Yes. Yeah, I'm on the differential phase, and it's showing a debris ball. It's showing some oranges and even a little bit of reds just to the north and west of Shaqualik, and just to the south and west of Macon, Mississippi. Okay,
I'm not getting the TDS signature. I'm not. That's a good thing, but it's spinning like a top. And this is only at about, it's only about 5,000 feet, so it's not that high up. I mean, it is, but it's not that high. It wouldn't take much for this to reach the ground. I don't think it's on the ground yet, but I think it could be getting close. So let's put this into motion. You mentioned Macon. This thing's going to pass just south of Macon. Let's put this into motion right now. And so everything's moving towards the, it's not quite northwest. Yeah, it's northwest. And so that is going to take it close to the town of Macon, probably just south.
Yeah, just south and just east of Macon. And then as it continues on to the northeast, after that, it looks like it's going to cross the Alabama-Mississippi line just southwest of Macedonia, Alabama, and a little bit to the west of Carrollton and Reform. And then It carries on up towards Millport and then between Vernon and Fayette, Alabama. And let's see. Hold on a second here.
This is arguably the most impressive signature I've seen today.
And that's and that's on the line. And I saw some good ones when I was looking back towards Jackson. There was one just in the north of Jackson and back towards Canton and back towards Pickens, Mississippi, where the TVS and where the shear and where the debris ball was along the lines of what we're looking at right now. But this cell definitely looks like it's bowing out just a little bit from the main line, and that may be why it's tapping into more of that heat and that humidity that's present just ahead of that line.
Right. Let's go back over to the other radar, take a look at the broader perspective here. There's WSV3. We're going to come right back over to that level 2 data, though. It's so important to watch that as it develops. I'm going to get the latest from the Weather Service as well. We're tapped into their chat. They're talking. I can hear them. I'm going to see what they're saying here in just a moment. Again, I need one more set of hands back here, Rich. It's too bad you're in South Carolina.
Yeah, that's okay.
All right, so let's see what the Weather Service, and this is going to be out of Jackson, Mississippi, what they are saying about
radar
this.
confirmed tornado in Clay County, Mississippi. That's the one that was just near West Point, and the one that is coming up on. Hold on a second here. I just need to recenter.
Okay. New tornado warning coming in from Memphis, and that is a tornado warning. It is observed, and that is Itawamba, of course, Monroe County, until 3:45. It says that a tornado-producing storm was located 7 miles northwest of Colola Springs, or 7 miles northwest of Columbus Air Force Base, moving northeast at 55 miles per hour.
That's the storm.
Okay, so we are getting busy fast. Let's move it back on over to level 2. If you guys don't mind to like and share the program, help to get the word out. Not everybody's aware that we've got some really, really nasty storms across portions of the south right now. We don't want anybody to be caught not being warned. But oh yeah, look at that thing developing so quickly, just in a couple of frames.
Yeah, the TBS.
Wow.
It's showing TBS right now, and it looks like it's going to pass literally just to the north and west of the Doppler radar, Columbus Air Force Base.
Yep, it is getting very close to the radar beam, so we've got excellent data on this. So let's see if we can't look at that TDS. There it is, clear as day.
Yep.
Clear as day. And for those that are unfamiliar with what that is, I'll briefly explain. So here's your hook, echo on the left, that's reflectivity. On the right is correlation coefficient, where you've got that little donut hole. That corresponds perfectly with where we have the gate-to-gate shear. And it is pretty strong shear, by the way. We've got the winds moving about 64 mile per hour towards the radar site, and then about 52 mile per hour away from the radar site. You do the math on that, that's about 115 mile per hour gate, not gate to gate, but very close, shear. And this is moving right at that radar source. So let's get those counties again. Again, we want everybody to take shelter. This thing is on the ground and doing business right now. So that tornado moving up, and let's get that warning information out. Monroe County, you're under the warning. And what was the other one that I couldn't?
Clay County. Central and Eastern Clay County.
Itawamba and Central Monroe County is what I've got, but I've got two separate polygons. It's like they've double warned it. You see how there's two?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. One of them's literally going right over Columbus Air Force Base, right over the radar beam.
Right. So that is a pretty serious looking signature. Meanwhile, simultaneously, we've got this one. That's the one that Reed Timmer was on. It's got a very broad rotation. Very broad rotation. We've got our friends from the National Weather Service in Memphis coming in, tornado detection, TDS signature in southern Monroe County. That's what we just looked at. So we've got two storms that are spinning very hard. And then we've got all this activity to the south that we are seeing rotation
Yeah, there's all kinds of rotation signatures going back to Interstate 20 and even going farther south than that. But those two in extreme eastern Mississippi, those two definitely have the best chance, particularly the one to the north and west of Caledonia, up towards just south and east of Aberdeen. That signature looks really, really solid. And there's tons of lightning wrapped around that. It's going to pass just to the south and east. I mean, Jeremy, it honestly looks like it's heading straight for the upper radar site. It's going to come awfully close to Columbus Air Force Base.
Right. No, it does. So we're going to have a pretty good vantage point from this, no doubt. Okay, we just got an update as of 4 p.m. Eastern from the Storm Prediction Center. That's 3 p.m. Central Time.
Okay. Itawamba County.
Did you say Itawamba? Say that again.
Itawamba.
It's
Itawamba. Itawamba County in northeastern Mississippi. Yes, that is the county. Itawamba County.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'm glad that you're able to pronounce that. That makes one of us.
Okay, northeast 60. Okay, yeah. Okay. Tornado moving at 60. Yeah, that's about right. That and these are the ones that correspond to the TVS. That is right there. Here, I'm gonna switch sources here for just a moment. I'm gonna pull up my Google Maps and just see exactly what's around there.
Well, our friend on the YouTube here, that's Shun LVSWX. Wait, is that my friend Shundra? Shundra, is that you? Let me know. And she says that, what's the name of the county that I can't pronounce? Okataba?
Itawamba.
I totally made that up. Well, she said Okataba. It's a different one. That's Starkville, Mississippi. So that's Mississippi State.
Okay, yeah, I initially had confused Columbus with that, so that was my mistake. Okay, I'm just looking for this right now.
Mississippi. So that's Mississippi State. And Shundra, if that's you, have to.
Yeah,
okay.
I
initially
had confused Columbus with that, so that was my mistake.
She's a former pupil of mine, but she's also a degreed meteorologist. She's following us on both. Wait, I'm hearing that's echo. Mississippi State. And Shundra, there we go. So Shundra's following us on both the Facebook feed, that's on Weather Live Media, to where Rich also hosts a morning segment just about every day. And it's good to see Shundra on here on both feeds. Thanks for being on. And hopefully you're doing well.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate it.
Okay.
All right. So the good news, as I'm looking at the Google Maps, there really isn't a whole lot in this area. There really isn't a whole lot until you get to Gatman and until you get to the Alabama line, which is right near where the radar site is. Hold on just a second.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Let me recenter here. Okay. Columbus Air Force Base, Caledonia, Gatman, Columbus Air Force Base, Caledonia, and Gatman. Okay. So. All right. So once it gets past Koala Springs and Columbus Air Force Base, Hamilton, Mississippi is about the only thing that's there between there and Gatman. And then after that, it's looking like it's passing through mainly rural areas until it gets to Hamilton, Alabama. Now, Hamilton, Mississippi and Hamilton, Alabama are really not that far apart. So know the difference on this one. But again, we're projecting probably 30 to 45 minutes, closer to an hour ahead by the time it gets into Alabama. And we're assuming that it still maintains structure and still is on the ground at that point in time. But I'm just kind of playing it ahead at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've gone on over to WSV3. That's where Columbus is at. So Columbus is not underneath the tornado warning. It's just to the north. But that is a
Yes.
severe thunderstorm warning for Columbus right now. To the north, where we have the flashing purple. That is a confirmed tornado on the ground. And that was confirmed on radar, although we do have a number of spotters up there. This one appears to be rain wrapped on the ground.
It is absolutely rain wrapped. And hold on, I'm just going to throw on the differential just so I can see. There is a debris ball with it just south and east of Aberdeen. There is a debris ball with it. So at least that's what the radar is indicating. And with the fact that the radar is literally just a few miles away, I would definitely take that seriously. It's probably only 1,000-something feet off the ground. Assume that this is a tornado on the ground.
Yes, sir. Let's do that. So taking a look at WSV3 radar as we speak, putting everything into motion, and everything really did. It really moved a lot faster than any of the models had indicated that it would. And so here we are, not even 3:30 in the afternoon Central Time. That line, which was not projected to reach at the Alabama line until like 5, 6 o'clock Eastern, about 2
Even
hours,
7, 8 o'clock.
about 2 to 3 hours early. So
Yeah.
that's interesting. I would like to see what the instability is out there in western Alabama. I'm going to take a look at that coming up here in a few minutes. I'm also want to take a look at what's happening on social media. If we've got
In the meantime, I'm looking at this. It literally looks like this is on a beeline for just west of Gatman, which is where the actual Columbus Air Force Base Doppler radar is. It looks like this tornado that's on the ground with the signatures and with everything. It looks like if it doesn't hit near exactly where the Doppler radar is, it's going to pass awfully close. And by awfully close, I mean within 1 to 2 miles. This is going to make a very close approach to the Doppler radar site at Columbus Air Force Base, Mississippi. So I will definitely, stay on that, and we'll be looking at that. It looks like right at or just after 3:30, I'd say between 3:30 and 3:35, it's going to pass over or near where that Doppler radar is. And one way that we'll be able to tell is if it gets to the radar and we lose radar images, might be something. It could be. And if it doesn't come back like within 30 minutes to an hour, I mean, it has happened before. I mean, I remember when I think it was Hurricane Laura completely ripped apart Lake Charles's Doppler radar, but they got that back up and running within a couple of months. But I mean, it was like gone.
All right, here's a look from Twitter of an image that I just ran across. This is as the storm moved across Interstate 59, I believe, is at North 55. North of Jackson a couple of hours ago. They're reporting it as a large wedge, but as I can attest during my time in Mississippi, it's so difficult to see these storms because there's a haze factor associated with humidity, lots of vegetation. It's very difficult to see what's happening on the ground. Maybe rain wrapped, but
it's not the plains. It's so much harder to see in Mississippi. It's so much harder to see around you than it is even just in Arkansas and Louisiana, much less Oklahoma, Texas, and Kansas.
Yes, 100% agree with that. So I don't know if it's on the ground or not, but it was tornado warned at the time. So that's from Freddie McKinney. I'll pass that along. Find me on Twitter. You can check it out there. Okay. What else are you seeing? I'm going through my National Weather Service feed to see if they have any new information coming along. Still talking about that storm moving through Monroe County. We're going to take a level 2 look at that coming up here in just a couple of moments.
Okay, so the super res reflectivity is still a couple minutes behind, but that couplet It looks like it's heading straight for. It honestly looks like it's heading straight for the Doppler radar.
Mm-hmm.
Let me pull up the differential phase. That is, well, actually, it looks like it might be just a slight bit to the west of the radar, but it's going to make a very close approach. Um, Next 5 to 10 minutes, if you know, we'll see if that radar is still operational,
Mm-hmm.
and should probably look out. I'm going to look out and see which ones are closest to it. I think Birmingham and Huntsville. If Columbus Air Force Base goes down, I think Birmingham
Yeah,
is the
I
next
I don't think they're going
operator.
to have to worry about that. I'm looking at this and I'm showing it in real time. While we had that really good looking signature, that really good looking couplet from about 10 minutes ago, it looks like it's just completely fallen apart. This has gone linear, which is good news. I think that radar is going to be okay. People that live
Well, I
up
hope
there.
so.
This is good
I
news
hope-
for Quincy, Aberdeen, Hatley, Gotham, all these areas that are still underneath that tornado warning. It looks like you're in a lot better position now than you were 10, 15 minutes ago. With that being said, the tornado warning does continue for Itawamba County. I think I got it right that time, and Monroe County till 3:45. But again, on radar, it does not look as impressive. The one to the south, tornado warning does continue. We still have pretty
That one
broad.
still has the TBS with it.
Yeah, but it's kind of a broad shear. It's not a tight couplet.
Right. Let me okay, so differential phase, it's not really showing it all that great. Let me pull up the
But
digital velocity.
re-
Yeah, I mean uh,
regardless, we still
it's
have
there.
the tornado warning till 4 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Eastern for Central Noxubee County. Central Noxubee County. Did you say you were still seeing the TDS?
The tornado vortex signature is still
Yeah.
showing up just south of Macon.
TVS, but yeah, the TVS. We should explain the difference.
Right,
TVS,
tornado vortex signature is above the ground.
TVS is typically well, it's based on storm relative velocity. So when you have enough shear that is happening, they'll take a look at that and not know what's actually happening on the ground. They'll call it a TVS. But anytime you get to TVS, that lines up well with a TDS, which is a tornadic debris signature, that's when you know you're in business. Right now, we're seeing some hail contamination from the other storm that we were just tracking. So there's hail in there, and it makes it impossible to see if there's a TDS. I don't think it is, because I think the rotation's too broad, and I haven't seen any new information coming out of the National Weather Service in Jackson. So I think we're going to be okay for now, but we still urge people to take their tornado precautions if they haven't already. So Bigby, you got to pretend like this is on the ground. Prairie Point, you as well. Go ahead and take your tornado precautions if you haven't already.
Yes, definitely, indeed. And just looking at the from 355 all the way through. I mean, there was definitely a lot more when it was south of Aberdeen. When it was between Aberdeen and Columbus Air Force Base, the signature was a lot better on it. The velocity signature was a lot better on it. But it definitely has weakened. A lot of deep blues that were around it are not there anymore. So it is definitely weakened. I mean, it's still halfway decent gate to gate, but it was not as impressive as what it was 15 to 20 minutes ago when we were on it.
Yeah, agreed. There's a look at the bigger picture as we take a look back over at our WSV3 radar units. And activity just absolutely blistering across the central portions of the state of Mississippi, now already reaching into Alabama, where they do have severe thunderstorm warnings into far western Alabama. You can see the atmosphere ahead of it, very warm. We've got temperatures in the middle, upper 70s across much of Alabama, southern Mississippi. We also have rather high dew point temperatures. Let's take a look at those. And dew points surging right now. And that's the numbers you're looking at here, where you've got dew points that are in the 60s across central Alabama. That's okay. So actually the air is a little more stable. So as these storms run out ahead, they're going to run out of fuel. That's why
That's good.
That's
That's
why
good.
I still think that it's the storms to the south that need to be watched, where you have dew points of 70 degrees in Hattiesburg.
south of I-20. South of I-20,
Yep.
in between 59 and 65. That's my number one area of concern. And then the one row of counties to the east of 65, getting as far east as Escambia County, Florida, the immediate Pensacola area, and then up into south central Alabama. That would be my biggest, concern with, with those storms tapping into more of that moisture. So.
Yep, 100%. And let's take a look at an image. This is from DeKalb, Mississippi, at around 2:45 Central Time. So this is about 50 minutes ago. There you go. It looks like it's hard to tell for sure if it's on the ground, but definitely close. This picture by Kellen Lynch. You can find that via my Twitter feed. But again, looks like possible. It's difficult to see, but it's definitely a funnel cloud. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Yeah, there's definitely a funnel cloud, and I don't know why somebody's angry at us on the Facebook side, but
who do we have?
I don't know. So, I just had a notification. Somebody was angry at the either at our coverage or the severe weather event. I'm honestly not sure, but we'll find it out.
Can't take it personal.
Coming up here in a few minutes almost.
All right, so yeah, let's see who we have. We've got Shundra's giving all types of good information. Trees are down on the Mississippi State campus. Is that in Columbus? There, Shundra, Mississippi State, or is that that's Mississippi State, right?
Yes,
no, that's Starkville.
Yeah,
Starkville is what I'm thinking.
Oh, okay.
Okay, all right. And so thank you, Shundra, for providing the information that you are, again, on our Weather Live Media page. And we're currently got about a dozen that are lurking. And we appreciate you guys being on. Let's check in with our friends over on the YouTube. And thank you for being on here. If you guys don't mind, like and share. As always, it's appreciated. Okay. All right, I'm with Rich Lupia, everybody. That's meteorologist Rich Lupia from Upstate Snow, and he's also a contributor on our Weather Live Media page. And we appreciate what you do. Look at that explosion of thunderstorms. Enhanced infrared satellite imagery, showing you what we're dealing with here. And we've got a lot of wind energy, I know that much. We'll take a look at some images together here. And let us know how your picture is. How's the audio quality? How's the video quality? As we continue to monitor the progress of this severe weather episode, you got to be careful. Is it an outbreak or is it not? Well, what's the definition?
I wouldn't classify this as an outbreak. I mean, but all these things are subjective, Jeremy.
Well, it's
what some people would consider an outbreak might be 2 or 3 tornadoes within the immediate area where they live. With us as meteorologists who study this stuff for a living, we look at, April 2011. We look at April 1974. We look at May 1985 up in the Northeast, May 1998 up in the Northeast. 32 tornadoes in upstate New York, May 31st, 1998. That's an outbreak. 1 or 2 tornadoes with a line of severe storms that's coming through, that's not an outbreak. An outbreak is when there's an unusually large amount, way more than usual, of tornadoes and severe weather and damage associated with it. That that is what I would consider to be an outbreak.
Okay, what I've got on here is this is a wind shear in the lowest 3 kilometers of the atmosphere. There's a lot of wind energy over Mississippi right now. Modest wind energy, but sufficient across central Alabama. But that does extend all the way down to the Gulf Coast, so that's one of the parameters that we're looking at currently. And as well, we're watching these indices, such as the supercell composite and also the significant tornado parameter, or STP. STP is running 5, 6, 7 across portions of southern portions of Mississippi. And that's really the area that I'm most concerned with. As these storms continue to run to the north and continue to run to the east, they're bringing in drier, more stable air. So they're going to run out of fuel. Got a lot of dynamics, but you're just going to run out of fuel. That's why I think as we head towards evening, the focus will be heading into southern portions of Mississippi, western and southwestern portions of Alabama. I think that's where the action's going to be. With that being said, let's get a radar update. And what do we have now, Rich? Still have 2 tornado warnings that are in progress right now.
Yep. It does look like that storm did pass near the Air Force Base. It does look like that I see more red to the north and east than to the south and west. So it does look like that the radar is fine there, just to the west of Gatman, which is near the Alabama Mississippi line. So it does look like that that is going good. Still showing a tornado vortex signature north and east of Macon with our 1 tornado warning there. It is really in the middle of nowhere, and it's nearing the Alabama line, and will be approaching just along and just to the west of Macedonia, Alabama, in about let me see here, in about 20 to 20, I'd say 15 to 20 minutes or so, probably closer to 4 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Eastern.
All right, good information. We appreciate that. I continue to watch my feeds over on social media, looking for images. And again, these are typically not very photographic storms, and for the reasons that we've already talked about. You just typically, when you get an outbreak down there, or you get a severe weather event, there's just so much moisture, humidity. Oftentimes you'll have haze, and it just
trees.
makes it very hard to see. Yeah, absolutely.
It's very difficult because you're in an area that gets a lot of annual rainfall, and as a result, there's a lot of natural trees and vegetation, and it's harder to see a distance than it is a state to the west, like in Alabama, not Alabama, in Arkansas and Louisiana, and then you go farther west into Texas and into Oklahoma and Kansas. Then there, you're, you get closer to I-35, and especially west of I-35, you're completely wide open. You worked in Abilene, you know that you can see practically anything for about 20 miles around you.
Yes, you can.
At all times.
You can see for miles and miles, as they say. But that's not often the case, though, in the Deep South. I am seeing some images here. This is coming from Reed Timmer's location. So let's see what Reed is looking at. And there you go, which looks like a wall cloud. Again, that's the storm, and there's a new tornado warning coming out back to the south. That's out towards DeKalb. We're going to investigate that next. But this storm here still has a tornado warning. That's what Reed Timmer is seeing. What's this here?
I'm only showing the 2 tornado warnings right here. Let me get back on with Jackson and find out what's going on with them.
Yeah, it looks like the latest tornado warning is coming out of eastern Kemper County and east central Mississippi. National Weather Service has issued a tornado warning. This is a radar indicated tornado for a storm that was near DeKalb. We've already seen one move through there. We're 10 miles north of Meridian Station, moving to the northeast at 50 miles per hour. Let's go on over to level 2. Let's investigate. All right. So, and again, that's the area that we thought we'd want to watch a little more closely in time. Unfortunately, the radar data in that area is not particularly good. It's up.
Yeah,
it's 14,000 feet.
Yeah, that's no man's land around there. The res is not very good. There's definitely a lot of contamination with the different radar products here. It's very hard to see at that elevation.
It is, so we just have to take their word for it. And, they look at different parameters when they do that as well. They rely on reports from the ground. Let's see if Jackson has revealed their hand as to why. No, all they're saying is that they're just watching it get better organized. One tool that I like to look at in these type of scenarios is echotops. So let's take a look at the echotops of what's happening down there. Because, when you have a sufficient instability, when you have sufficient wind shear, sometimes it's just all about the height of the storm. And the height of the storm is a basic characteristic of the strength of the storm. And it's easier for these radars that are way away to see the top of the storm than it is to see the bottom. It's impossible for them to see the bottom. So you have to rely on what's happening up above. And right now, that storm, I'm showing echo tops of about 40,000 feet. It's actually closer to 50,000 feet if you go to the part of the storm just south of where the warning is. And considering how these storms should be tilted, they should be tilted towards the northeast. So there's a storm developing to the south that's even got a higher top. I wonder if they're going to warn that next.
Okay. There's that new warning. All right, so we've got the 3 active warnings lined up along the Mississippi-Alabama border. We've got the one just north and that moved just to the north and east of Columbus Air Force Base, just north of the Doppler radar there. We have the one north and east of Macon that is approaching Macedonia, Alabama. It's still holding together. It's still holding together. It's not the greatest, but it's one that I would definitely take seriously and be in shelter if I was in that area. And then the one with the tornado warning just near DeKalb. Again, a little bit more contamination with the with the signatures there, but heading to the north and east up towards Scuba, and eventually approaching Geiger, Alabama. And it looks like I just crashed. I just crashed the radar on my end, so it'll take me a minute to get that back up.
Well, that'll give you something to do, my friend.
Yeah, actually, I got it all the way back up pretty quick. So yeah, it's there.
Well, all right. Well, better you than me right now. So knock on something solid. I think our radars are doing okay at the moment.
All right.
We're taking a look at the big picture here. This is WSV3 radar, where we have 3 active tornado warnings. We're going to investigate all of those. Actually, the one I think just lifted 4:45 at 3:45 Central Time. That one has now lifted. Everything moving quickly off to the east. I'm not as concerned with this area up here moving into Alabama. Birmingham, you're going to be fine. The reason is because your air is too stable. You're too stable. So I don't think you're going to have any problems out there in Birmingham. That'll make a lot of people happy, I'm sure. But down here, from near Meridian to Hattiesburg, this would be the area that I'm interested in. That's going to be Mobile, this area here, where you do have dew points that are either in the upper 60s or 70, or they're rising fast. I think that's where we're going to have to watch closely, because that appears to be where the ingredients are coming together the quickest. Okay, you got your radar back up and running there, buddy?
Yes, I do. Hold on just a quick sec. I'm looking to access something. Okay, here we are. Okay, I'm gonna have this up. This is a look at the counties I have on my end, which you cannot see on your screen, but I have on my screen that I'm looking here. I have every single county in Mississippi and Alabama. Meteorologist J.P. Dice, who used to work in Birmingham, who's now a commercial pilot, but still does a lot of weather stuff from time to time. He put this up yesterday. Save it, print it, share it, study it. For folks in Mississippi and Alabama, you need to know what counties are around you. And, so now I have that list of counties in front of me. So as these storms are moving, I know and can say with some confidence, okay, it's moving into this county in Alabama, this county in Mississippi. So I've got a little bit better guidance as to what counties we're talking about here.
Okay. All right. Very good. So just so you know, Rich, you have a Facebook and a live logo right on top of your forehead.
I have a Facebook and a live logo on top of my forehead.
And Jim Perry, he said that 50 minutes ago, and I just caught his comment. That's all right. It's just right on your forehead. It's like Facebook owns you.
If you only knew. If you only knew.
Facebook owns you, man.
Oh boy.
I think that's in the Bible somewhere. Yeah. Is that
Yep.
the mark of the beast there?
I have no clue.
I tease, of course. I still like it. Yeah, I'm messing around with the placement. Where do we put Rich? Where do we put Rich? All right, we're gonna leave you right where you're at.
Okay, thanks for moving me back down there. Yeah, the live eye and the I'm live. I'm completely blocked out here. Move me back down to the left corner.
Yeah, we're gonna
Lower left corner,
I'd say
please.
we just put you in the closet and let that be that.
Oh boy.
How about down there? There we go. I've got you over top of our crawl now. That looks good. All right.
Okay.
I think I have to do that on all my sources now, though. Is that right? Whatever.
I don't
Whatever,
know.
Rich. We'll do the best we can,
We'll figure
man.
it out as you go through.
That's right. All right. Well, let's. I really wish that these storms are in a better position because the radar data on level 2 data is just not good where they're at right now. But
Yeah.
you know, you gotta deal with what you've got. I'm looking at a Mobile, Alabama, and there's no velocity data at all. So I'm gonna go out of Birmingham, see what that looks like. All right, who do we have in the program? Let's get caught up. I know we've got Chandra over there on the Facebook feed. She's also finally OMG says Jim Perry. Well, Jim, you know, I'm just one person, okay? I'm just one person. They expect so much. The more you give, the more they expect. Have you ever noticed that there, Rich?
Yeah.
It's kind of like kids, you know. Rich, or Jim.
Don't even get me going on that.
Jim, I'm not calling you a kid. He's our professor.
No, we're talking about our kids. We're talking about our kids.
The more you give them, the more they take. It's just a universal thing. They learn the art of negotiation very, very early. So
Okay, so if you don't mind me for a moment, is it okay if I just talk for a moment here?
yes, please.
Okay,
speak.
so Meridian to Tuscaloosa.
Yeah.
Okay, so from Tuscaloosa, Alabama north, severe threat is dying off and is going to die off quick. I'm looking at the radar. The radar echoes are racing ahead. I mean, this is going to reach Birmingham by 5 o'clock, and we were initially thinking like 7, 8, 9 o'clock. This is going to reach Birmingham within an hour, and it's continuing to bow out. The northern part of Mississippi going into northern Alabama. There are a few severe thunderstorm warnings up through here, but it's more within the cells. But there's activity that's now starting to spill out ahead of the line. And that's going to help to stabilize the atmosphere and eventually weaken the line. So the line that's literally on the Mississippi-Alabama line from Macedonia up towards Tremont and up towards Muscle Shoals, that is just going to weaken. I can't imagine, the area of rain and thunderstorms getting out ahead of it into northern Alabama. You get hit with rain and thunderstorms constantly, and then you get hit with the big squall line. I have to imagine that this is the beginning of the process of that northern part weakening north of Tuscaloosa. Now we're going to go south of Tuscaloosa. We're going to head down towards Moundville, towards Akron, towards Demopolis, Livingston, Alabama, down towards Pennington, and then eventually down towards Jackson, Alabama, and even all the way down towards Mobile. You still have those lines of thunderstorms that are out ahead of it. And I do think that, most of our tornado warnings are from Tuscaloosa south, but I'm drawing the line at Tuscaloosa. You've got to be in southern Alabama because in northern Alabama, the rain is just spreading too fast. The dew points are just too low. The instability and the shear just isn't there. So I think Birmingham in points north, like you were saying before, I think they're going to be okay. Some rain, some thunder, maybe some gusts of wind, maybe a little bit of damage. But I honestly think Tuscaloosa south is what we're playing for right now. It's going to be the southern half of. It's going to be what's left of Alabama and Louisiana at this point in time, but southern Alabama, and then eventually into Escambia County, Florida, Pensacola area. That's where it's going to be. And I crashed my radar scope once again. So I'm done.
That's what you get there, Rich. That's what you get,
Yeah,
man.
I start bloviating, and then the radar says, no, sir, for you.
Nope, not going to happen. All right, we've got the latest on our WSV3 radar, however. And the area of most concern down here towards Meridian, that's this storm that's flashing. Also, the storm south of Columbus still showing up as tornadic in nature. So I'm going to take you back over to level 2.
You had to move me again, didn't you?
I did. Yeah, you're moving. You're kind of all over the place right now.
Yeah, I mean, next thing you know, I'm just going to be swirling around Meridian and Tuscaloosa.
Probably.
And be like, is he going down the drain?
Yeah. That sounds about right. So the location of these storms is very problematic. They are way away from any radar site. So I'm just kind of looking at things like Echo Top to get an idea of what they're warning on. But yeah, Meridian, Mississippi, that's technically a tornado warning for you. Boy, I wish I could place this bad boy for you, though. Very difficult to place it, so I guess if you're in that warning, just take your shelter. Okay,
Yeah,
tornado warning.
just hope for the best.
Yeah, for southeastern Kemper County, north central Clark County, eastern Lauderdale County. That goes till 4:45 p.m. Central Time. This is radar indicated. Again, I wish I could give you good, sample. I'm not getting any type of SRV. What about regular velocity? A little bit. But my SRV is just gone. I'm taking this is this out of Jackson? Trying to get it out of Jackson. I'm not having it. Oh, there we go. Okay, we got a little bit of data back. Yeah, so we've got 2 circulations that are in here. I told you they may warn that one to the south just based on the height of the storm. And that's exactly what they did. They sure did. So that storm is at about 45,000 feet. The other one at about 40,000 feet. And they're warning all of them because they don't know what's happening underneath. They just know that we have a lot of ingredients that are in place. That's all they know. The other warning, I think, is about to expire. This is going to be
we're coming up on 4 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Eastern here.
And I don't see anything left on that. So, I mean, as far as what I'm looking at, that's really a non-threat at this point. So the warning for Nuxby County, northeastern Nuxby County, that's about to go bye-bye. So that's not an issue.
Yeah, getting in the Pickens, Lamar, Marion, Franklin County, Alabama, up towards Colbert and Lauderdale County, Alabama. Those counties in northwestern Alabama that border up against Tennessee, those are the ones that are under severe thunderstorm warning right now, but they're not getting that second layer of counties in. It's not getting to Fayette County. It's not getting to Tuscaloosa County. It's not even getting to Greene County. And two counties away, you've got a tornado warning. It'd be very interesting to see how Alabama does in the next hour or two, because I don't think we're going to have to wait long to find out the way that this is evolving. Gosh, I mean, this is, yeah, I mean,
let's
I don't want to.
Let's do this. And what I think I want to do until we get more information, I think we're going to bring this down for a close, maybe a break.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you because, until this thing starts getting into some more populated areas. I mean, we're largely warning for sparsely populated eastern Mississippi and western Alabama. We're away from a lot of population centers. Again, Meridian is a population center. It's not really a whole lot, but there is some folks around Meridian, Mississippi for sure. But that's really about it. I mean, it was in Jackson a couple of hours ago, and it's still few hours away from even Tuscaloosa, much less Birmingham and Montgomery and Mobile. I think we just need to take a look, and if things start popping, if things start going again, maybe we jump back on. If not, then this is one of those days to where we go, got through that moderate risk.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I want to do as we bring this segment down for a close, Rich, is I want to take a look ahead. Because we do believe that we're going to be at risk again tomorrow. I'm looking at the jet stream winds via this afternoon's run of the European forecast model, and pronounced trough of low pressure across the central United States. Big trough. You get very fast jet stream winds that are running southwest to northeast from southern Texas and the northwestern Gulf of Mexico up the Mississippi River Valley. And this is really the driver behind everything. That upper level forcing going to bring up the warm, moist Gulf of Mexico air into the southeast. So I know you and I were talking just before we got on here. The question will be, will you get some heating across the southeast tomorrow? Because that's going to be the area that we're going to be most concerned with as far as the potential is severe. So let's take a look at those the convective outlook for the day tomorrow. I'm going to bring that up over here on our radar units, and I'll let you speak to that, Rich.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. We should be looking at a slight risk of severe thunderstorms, and I'm just going to pull up the map on my end here. Just give me a second. The slight risk for tomorrow, and this was just updated, so give me just a second here. Storm Prediction Center actually put out a secondary severe weather into Ohio and Indiana, like just north and east of you, Jeremy. They put a slight risk in north and east of Indianapolis. This includes Dayton, Columbus, Lima, Ohio, Fort Wayne, Indiana, basically up to Toledo and basically almost to the suburbs of Cleveland. That has that secondary slight risk area. And then the other slight risk is most of North Carolina, with the exception of the high mountains, the entire state of South Carolina. This does include the upstate, and pretty much uses I-85 as the dividing line. So once you get into Georgia, if you're north and west of Interstate 85, you're in the clear. If you're south and east of Interstate 85, you're in the slight risk zone, and that extends all the way down towards Panama City, Tallahassee, and to Jacksonville, Florida, towards Apalachicola, Lake City, Florida. This area will be under the greatest threat for straight line wind damage, possibly some hail because there's a lot colder air coming on down. The freezing levels are not as high as we would like them to be, so there is definitely the threat for some hail, and the tornado threat is going to be a lot less tomorrow. The tornado threat is going to be a lot less than what it was yesterday in Texas and what it is today in Mississippi. There could be a few isolated tornadoes, but I do not expect an outbreak across the Carolinas and across Georgia, and especially for the time of day that this is going to be moving in. This is going to be hitting the Atlanta area for morning drive, and it's going to be getting into Greenville and into the upstate of South Carolina, where I am located during the morning hours tomorrow. Same thing up in Charlotte, and even getting farther north up towards Statesville, North Carolina. That timing of day does not really line up too well with the dynamics that are coming in, because the thermodynamics are going to be lacking. We will have some southerly winds. It's already starting to get a little bit more moist out there, but it's not going to be enough to really pop off those storms like if we had a couple of hours of sunshine and if it jumped well into the 70s out ahead of a line of storms. That might be a little bit more possible in the Midlands and towards the Sandhills, farther to the east in South Carolina, maybe far southern Georgia into northern Florida. I think there might be a little bit bigger risk there, but it's still a slight risk. A lot of the dynamics are not lining up as perfectly as they were across Mississippi and Alabama, today, and over Texas yesterday between Dallas, Austin, and Houston, where we had a lot of the tornadoes yesterday. But this is still a very large dynamic storm. It's got a lot of dynamic energy with it, even though it may not have as many thermodynamics. The dynamics might be enough to overcome, and that's probably the reason why they put the slight risk into Indiana and into Ohio on the other side of the mountains, and still have some risk, here in the southeast. Again, the risk is not zero, but the risk is less than what we have right now. So that's the big thing that we'll be watching during the daytime tomorrow, and then by Thursday, it just becomes a rainstorm across the mid-Atlantic and the Northeast and into the Great Lakes, with snow on the backside of it, and a big pattern change towards cooler than normal really for the next week. West of the Mississippi gets really warm. East of the Mississippi stays cool. A lot of 30s, 40s, 50s to the north. 60s here in the south, which is starting to get below normal late March going into April. We're normally supposed to start nudging into the 70s on a daily basis. So that's the look at everything going forward.
I'm wondering if the activity doesn't reach, say, where you're at in northwestern South Carolina quicker just because of the location of where the storms are today and where they were anticipated at being at this time during the day. Everything's moving faster. With it moving faster, that may decrease further the instability. So
yeah. So in the models, and we're basing this off of models, what you're saying it's going to get here between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. We don't really have a whole lot of heating at that point, and if it's continuing to move faster than the models are projecting, then it's going to get here towards sunrise at daytime minimum heating, not daytime maximum heating, which would probably reduce the threat from slight to potentially a marginal. But in any case, there could be some severe weather here in the Carolinas and across parts of the Southeast, especially on the east side of the Appalachians, but it's not going to be anywhere near the threat that's on the west side of the Appalachians, what we're dealing with right now.
Yeah, I agree. So with that being said, let's do a final radar tour, and then we'll bring this down for a close. Again, right now you're looking at tomorrow's slight risk. As Rich mentioned, 2 areas under a slight risk, much of the southeast, the Carolinas, Georgia, and portions of northern Florida. And the other one for parts of the Ohio River Valley into northeastern Indiana, much of central Ohio. We'll watch. And if we do need to, of course, we will update you. But our concern, at least for the time being, is this moderate risk, which looks like will likely go belly up. It's not going to live up to most people's expectations, likely for a moderate risk. But with that, we still have some pretty concerning storms out there. Let's do a final check. And we'll take any questions that you guys may have while we're at it as well. So let me pull the warnings back on here. So tornado warnings, there's just the one now, I believe. And that's now moving to the east of Meridian. I'll put this into motion for you. Main line. It's down south of Jackson, making its way. It's approaching New Orleans, by the way. I think, again, this area of interest would be far southeastern Mississippi, far west southwestern portions of Alabama. As we head over the next couple of hours, let's do one more check of our level 2 data. And they do have 2 separate warnings. Again, we're dealing with an issue when it comes to radar data. I just can't, they desperately need another radar unit down there. So the tornado warning remains in effect for northeastern Kemper County until 4:45 p.m.
With how fast it's moving, it's gonna be out of the county before 4:45.
Way before. That's interesting. Okay. The other warning, again, they just kind of, these storms with the higher echo tops, they're just like warning. But that's southeastern Kemper, north central Clark, eastern Lauderdale. That also goes till 4:45 Central Time. I'll put this into motion. Check with the Weather Service, make sure I'm not missing anything here. Okay, out of Jackson. Yeah, no new information. They're just saying radar indicated. Okay, there is a public report of a tornado at 3:58 p.m.
Where was that report?
9 minutes ago. Tornado damage, tree down, power poles are snapped, metal poles bent at a business. There were no reports of injuries. Streets include, where are we at? Oh, West Point. That's Clay County, Mississippi.
West Point. Okay, so that's farther north.
Well, that was 9 minutes ago.
Yeah, West Point. That's up just northwest of Columbus. So that's way away from where the tornado warnings are right now.
All right. So they said the tornado tree damage. Okay, so this is after the fact. Somebody's reporting damage from
this is after the line went through, and that was when the velocities were really good gate to gate that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah. Okay. So that is what they're saying out of Jackson. Any information coming out of Mobile? They're just saying tornado watch goes till 4 a.m. Central Time.
4 a.m. It's going to be that threat's going to be way over before 4 a.m.
Yeah, it will be. It will be. Otherwise, out of Memphis, they've got a few severe thunderstorm warnings, but it looks like everything else is done. So, all right, that's it. Final check of any comments that are on there. I want to thank Victor Gannon for being on. I want to thank Chandra Stewart. Appreciate that. Victor does have a question. What is the difference to seeing tornado normally versus rain-wrapped tornadoes? My son is in Jacksonville, Florida. Well, I mean, if your typical tornado, well, we got to break down really the three different types of supercells. There's the low precipitation supercell, there's the classic, and then there's the high precipitation supercell. If it's a high precipitation supercell, which is very common in the South, it means it's most likely shrouded by rain, which means you don't get a clear view of the tornado. The tornado typically will wrap rain around it, so what you'll see is what looks like a rain shaft, and you won't necessarily see the hidden danger, which is the tornado that's inside that rain shaft. So that's the high precipitation supercell. Typically what's more common in the plains, you get a classic supercell or an LP or a low precipitation, and really those, the condensation funnel is extremely visible, and you don't have a lot of precipitation that mars the view. You don't have as much humidity, not as much haze, makes all the difference. Not that there's ever a safe place to have a tornado, but I'd much rather have it on the open range, of western Kansas than down here in the South where they don't see them coming. So anyway, good question. We appreciate that. And let's do a final check over here on our Facebook page. Thank you, Jim, for being in. And Chandra, guys, we love y'all. Any final comments here, Rich, before we take a break? We'll come back on only if it looks like it's going to be warranted. So we'll continue.
Right. No, everything looks great. I mean, it is what it is with this event. We want all moderate risk events to end like this, to where it's petering out and it doesn't really look like a whole lot is going on. Yes, some tornadoes, yes, some damage, but nothing to the level of an outbreak or, oh my gosh, deaths and injuries. We pray that there's no deaths and injuries today, that this stays in rural areas. This is exactly what we want these events to be. And when the events throughout the spring continue to pop up, we will be there, especially when there's enhanced to especially a moderate risk, or if we ever get a high risk later this spring, we will cover it. And we'll be there to help as many people as we can. Whoever's listening to us, please please share, please get it out to as many people as possible. Jeremy and I have been meteorologists 20 years plus. We have a lot of experience. Jeremy especially is experienced with the severe weather. I'm more of a winter storm guy myself, but we've got, we constantly look at everything and constantly looking at, hey, this looks like this, this could happen. At the end of the day, our hearts is just trying to help people every day in every way, regardless of what it is. And especially on a day like today, when there's tornado warnings, we just want to get the word out to people just so they can stay safe and protect their life and property.
Amen, brother. And we'll leave it on that note. Thank you for all you do. Thanks for joining us today, Rich. And we'll continue to monitor. I'll be in contact with you. And hopefully we'll be in contact with you guys as well here in the near future. We'll see what tomorrow brings. Anyway, it's the beginning of the spring. So I'm expecting an active season. I don't see any reason why we don't see several episodes of severe weather over the next few weeks, over the next couple of months. With that being said, have a good evening if we don't talk to you again. Hopefully we don't have to.
That would be nice.
Okay, Rich. All right, buddy. I'll talk to you on the other side.
All right.
Yep.
God bless.
See you guys.